It's 2. That's Wendy Matthews. Woman's Gotta Have It. My name's Jess Ong, keeping you company until 4 o'clock on this Wednesday afternoon. One of the many things to love about living in the Northern Territory is the vibrant mix of cultures. Such a melting pot of so many amazing things. So how do you stay in touch with your cultural heritage and cultural practices when you move to another country? You're going to find out more about what one community here in the Northern Territory is helping to do to stay connected to their roots.
It's all about love right now on ABC iView. The hit series Love Me, Love on the Spectrum, Summer Love, and more great titles.
Seriously?
I can't stop smiling.
Find them where it's always free, always heartwarming.
Cheers to us.
ABC iView.
You're with Jess Ong
Now we're talking.
on ABC Radio Darwin and the Northern Territory.
As I said, one of the many things to love about living in the Northern Territory is the vibrant mix of cultures right here in this place that you and I call home. It's a pretty exceptional thing, in fact. And it actually reminds me, last night I was at the playground with my two girls. It was around like 5:30 or so, and I just got this overwhelming sense of pride, I suppose, of love for this community, because just out of nowhere, everyone just appeared at the playground, just generations of families just enjoying being outside, hanging out with one another. And I was just looking around thinking it is such an exceptional thing to be in such close proximity to all of these different people from all of these different cultures just at a playground. Such a special thing to witness. But the thing is, how can you stay in touch with your cultural heritage and practices when you move to another country? Well, for some people, it's through dance. And Sadeepa Belpage is the founder and director of Lankan Dance Academy Incorporated here in the Northern Territory. Hello.
Hi, Jess.
We've got some Sri Lankan music here in the background. Let's have a listen. Does it make you just want to start dancing all of a sudden hearing that music?
Yes, that makes me so excited.
Would you know what to do? Like, does certain music have certain dances, or do you just kind of riff
it? It depends, music, because we have 3 major styles in dancing in Sri Lanka. So it could be different to, each style. Yeah.
And what are the 3 styles?
One is Kandyan, Low Country, and Sabragamu. They originated from different parts of Sri Lanka, and they have different moves, and they have their own interesting way of showing it. Yeah.
So what's your story behind dance? When did you start dancing? What made you fall in love with it?
I don't know. I started dancing when I was 6 years old, I think. Yeah, and it's just because my auntie was dancing, and then I was just following her, and then my mom thought it would be a good idea to put me into a dance class. And then it started from there, and then I think I never stopped.
So you just loved it straight away?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
No one needed to convince you and say, come on, Sadeepa, time for dance class?
No, never.
So it's just something that is obviously in your bones.
Yeah,
and now
I think
you've
so.
started Lankan Dance Academy here in the Northern Territory. What was the story behind that? What made you think I need to make this happen here in...
I think, so in 2019, after I finished my bachelor's in Melbourne, I moved up here to do my professional year and didn't, had plans to start a dance academy or anything. Just came here, and then I realized it's very rich in multiculturalism. So I started performing in several events, and then I got a request from few parents asking me to, teach their students, teach their kids. And then I started from 4 students, and then it grew up to this.
And how many do you have now?
Over 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a popular person.
I don't know. But
How big is the Sri Lankan community in the Northern Territory, roughly?
that's a tricky question. I think just over 1,000, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's when you think about multicultural communities in Darwin, Sri Lankan is actually a small community, but starting from a small community and then bringing this to this level, I believe it's a huge accomplishment for me and my students and for the community as well.
Jess Ong with you this afternoon on 105.7 ABC Radio Darwin and the Northern Territory, celebrating culture and dance this afternoon with Sadeepa Belpage. He's the founder and director of Lankan Dance Academy Incorporated here in the Northern Territory. So Sadeepa, you mentioned earlier there are 3 styles of dance in
correct.
Sri Lanka. What style do you teach in your academy?
Mainly Canadian dancing. But when we are going to perform in other events or when you're doing a production, I try to, get the kids to explore other styles as well. Mainly Canadian dancing. The lessons are for Canadian dancing.
And what are the differences between the 3? Are they very subtle or are they quite obvious in terms of their moves and their costumes?
Quite obvious. Yep, obvious, because Canadian dancing is a very energetic dance. And then when it comes to low country dancing, it's more about storytelling. And then when it comes to Sabragamu, it's more flowy, slow dance. Yeah, you can really see when you sing it. And then the movements and things are quite different as well.
And what about back in Sri Lanka? Like, is there a big dance community there as well? Or is it just a smaller side thing that kids would do outside of, playing sport and other things?
I did as a side thing while I was studying, but it can be massive in Sri Lanka as well. There's, big reality programs and big events and things happening. So it's sort of a, when you think about Sri Lanka, we think about cricket, right? We always have that history about cricket. Just like that, I think this is sort of a phase as well for Sri Lanka to show the culture, the rich heritage that we have. This is a way of showing it. So it is pretty massive in Sri Lanka too, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We do always just think of cricket.
Yeah,
that's really
that's right.
all we think about. Cricket and delicious curry.
Yeah,
and then you've also
right.
got dance. So it is part of that mix, basically, to life
100%,
in Sri Lanka. So most kids would be dancing?
Probably at least to a certain age. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
And I noticed, when I was in Sri Lanka quite a few years ago now, but it was a very public thing as well. That, I think in Australia a lot of the time what we do happens behind closed doors. There's not a lot of life on the street here in Australia. Whereas in a lot of Southeast Asian countries, things like that, their life is lived on the streets. And I did find that in Sri Lanka, and I did actually see just some casual dancing happening on the corner, and that just is something that happens.
Yeah, that happens. It's normal because we have ceremonies and we have cultural events for everything, and then we have parades, lots and lots of parades in Sri Lanka, and this involves a lot of dancing. Yeah.
Great. I love that. It's just colour and vibrancy and sound. And so here in Australia, Sadeepa, and in the Northern Territory, like, how important is it for kids who have grown up potentially in another country, or at least their parents are from another country, in Sri Lanka in this instance? How important is it for them to be using this sort of dance to stay connected to their cultural heritage, to their roots?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important from my point of view, because many Sri Lankan kids in Australia grow up far from their cultural roots, and I think dance gives them a way to stay connected. And it's not just about learning the movements. It's I believe it's more than that. It's about understanding stories, traditions, and values behind them too. And it also gives them a sense of identity and pride in their heritage as well.
What sort of values would be present in these dances?
I can take it to another point of view as well when you ask that question, because Sri Lankan, our traditional dancing is deeply connected to Buddhism, and I believe Buddhism emphasizes good practice, discipline, and mindfulness. And in traditional Sri Lankan dance, I think we focus on maintaining the same values, whether it's through respect their teachers, being grateful for their parents, dedication to our craft, or the way we present ourselves on stage.
Yeah, all really important things.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, it's so good to hear. That's a really important thing, to be able to maintain that connection to a culture when you are living in another country and trying to straddle those two worlds, which can sometimes be really quite hard to know what to pay attention to and what to let go of.
Yeah.
Sadeepa, before I let you go, are you at home on like a nightclub dance floor as much as you are performing in cultural festivals? Like, do you break it down on the dance floor if you're in a club?
Depends. I don't know.
Depends on the music.
Depends on the music. Yeah, I've always been a dancer. I never stopped. So yeah, it doesn't matter where am I at. Doesn't stop me.
All right,
So,
look
yeah.
out. I hope you dance out of the studio. Good to talk to you, Sadeepa. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That's Sadeepa Belpage, who's the founder and director of Lankan Dance Academy, incorporated here in the Northern Territory, celebrating all things dance through the Sri Lankan community. It's 25 to 3. Jess Ong with you this afternoon.